What is up, my friend? It is Friday, it is the Late Night Agenda, and the good news is your weekend has now officially started. I hope you've all had a good day so far. I just want to remind everybody who might be watching this back as well, no live content tomorrow. We do have a couple of videos that we're going to put up for you guys. One of them being my keep, sell, loan or buy, which I did record earlier on today. So that is scheduled to go out at 6:30 tomorrow. It's one of our longer pre-recorded videos. It's about 12-13 minutes long. So do give it a watch if you get a chance tomorrow. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. As always, we've loads to get through. I was watching the first half of the England game and I got to be honest, I struggled to stay awake. It wasn't the most entertaining of spectacles. I don't know how anybody watches Gareth Southgate football. With the quality of those England players that he has at his disposal, God, it's a tough watch. It must be really difficult for you England fans as well, because you see the calibre of players that you have, and then they've been Southgateified, and it's not great. So, look, loads for us to get through today. We're going to be talking about the crazy, completely out of left field stories around Galatasaray, as I said earlier on. Galatasaray looking for Mo, which is, I think, about as unrealistic as you can get, but we still have to cover it, right, because it is being discussed. We're going to be talking about a winger that is on his way to West Ham, who we thought wasn't. We're going to be talking about a Chilean winger who Liverpool are looking at, and of course, a few other bits and pieces. For about 10 minutes from now, I'm going to go into my little take on Tom Werner's brilliantly stupid idea about moving Premier League games to, I don't know, everywhere by the sounds of it. He wants Liverpool to be playing in New York, to be playing in Riyadh, to be playing in Saudi Arabia, which I've just said, to be playing over in, I think, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Sydney, LA, all over the world, which is a stupid idea, but we'll talk about that as well. So yeah, loads to get through. I did see this from Smoke Show earlier on. He said Ederson has changed his bio on Instagram. It was Atalanta. Now it's just an athlete. Now, I don't know if that means anything, bro, but I know I don't hate it. I know it's certainly not bad news. But look, nothing new today from my side anyway on Liverpool's interest in the Atalanta midfielder. So we do have quite a bit to get through tonight. We're going to be talking about the release clause for EZE in his Crystal Palace contract. That has been confirmed as well. A little bit of a boost from Liverpool over a sale of a former player. And a couple of other bits and pieces along the way. I'm just checking through my notes to make sure. More links today to Geertruida as well, which of course we will cover. The Athletic have been saying that Liverpool are prepared to spend big money if the right player is there. So let's see if they live up to that. And then we've got a couple of other bits and pieces. As always, though, we like to spend the first 10 minutes just saying hi. So yeah, hope you're all well. England is losing. There you go. Yes, they were 1-0 down last I'd seen against Iceland. I didn't see the last 2 minutes of the first half, but other than that I'd seen. They created a bit. Harry Kane missed the sitter. I'm sure you've seen that. Cole Palmer played a great ball in and Kane shinned it. Hi Craig, I'm just letting you know I have ADHD, so if I spell anything wrong, I'm sorry. So excuse my ignorance, Hannah, now, but ADHD is that like, as far as I'm aware, that doesn't impact your spelling, right? Well, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. My wife genuinely feels like she needs to be assessed for it because my wife's mental. Can't sit still for 2 seconds. Like, she's always at something. The exact opposite of me, basically. But most importantly, Hannah, you be you. You be you in here. We'll welcome you no matter what, my friend. So you don't need to apologise for poor spelling or anything like that, because I'll let you in on a little secret, Hannah. I'm an idiot. I can't spell anything. If it wasn't for autocorrect, mate, I'd be in a whole world of trouble. My wife does all the spelling for me. So yeah, don't worry about it, Hannah. We're great to have you in, and I hope that you're well. And yeah, most importantly, had some fun with us. That's the most important thing, Hannah. Right, what have we got? Let's cash out on Salah and Nunez. Wow, Emmanuel going big early doors. Cashing out on Salah, yes. Cashing out on Nunez, I'm not there yet. Now, again, I did speak about tomorrow's video, and I do cover all of those things in the video. I go through all the players that I think we need to discuss. So the likes of Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Trent, Ryan Gravenberch, Caoimhín Kelleher, and then the players, of course, I want to bring in. So it is definitely, I think, an interesting watch, but I'm not sure if you're going to agree with all of my choices on it. Alex said I can't spell much either. Craig, autocorrect is great, said Zumzi. Honestly, Sometimes you know you're bad, right, when autocorrect can't even figure out the words you're trying to say. And that happens me so often. I'm trying to write a word so I can sound clever, and autocorrect's like, no idea, mate, don't know what you're trying to do here. Can we go again? They're losing to a supermarket who sell Greggs. Now, a supermarket who no longer operate in the Republic of Ireland, unfortunately. I used to love Werner going into Iceland to grab a few bits and bobs. But yeah, they closed down over here, unfortunately. Now, luckily, Greggs sausage rolls are still available thanks to the good folks at Dunnes Stores. Other supermarkets are also available. Right, I've got a little bit of an update. And it looks like we're in for a quiet stream tonight, which is cool. I don't mind quiet streams every now and again because it gives us all a chance to have a bit more fun and get to know each other a little better. I got to do it now, but I got to do it, so don't hate me. But see these tickets? I've personally sent out 6 over the last 24 hours. So whatever was left for Liverpool, we are really getting down to the last 20, 25 tickets maybe, and that's if no more are sold that I'm aware of. So if you are going to come along to see us in Liverpool especially, make sure you do not hang around. We're down to the last 24 tickets for Liverpool. Cardiff, again, it's selling really well. We're down to about the last 50 or so there. All the tickets are 15 quid and they are all ages event. Ben will stick the link into the top of the chat now for you if you want to get those tickets. Right, Elks, from an American, I could possibly see just one Premier League game in the US each year, but keep the East Coast, go NFL model, but just one game. So, right, I'm going to get stuck into it now in a second, Elks, and I'm going to go through that, and I'm going to go through my thoughts on the whole stuff, and I'm going to give Ben the L tap on the head in a minute. So what we will do, mate, is go through exactly what you've suggested there, the comparables for what the NFL are doing. Who do I think is winning the Euros? Said Zacy26. France, probably. Yeah, France or England. I think England have a great chance, despite Southgate. So I would say France or England. Right, what I'm going to do now in a second is go through Tom Werner having lost his damn mind. So before I do, I just have to do one thing. Firstly, that, and then this. That signals to Ben that I'm about to start. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk you through an idea that Tom Werner has pitched. Now, just when I thought FSG's greed and understanding of what will annoy the fan base has dissipated, now, Tom Werner has said, hold my beer, I have something to say. So basically, this is what Tom Werner has had to say. I'm determined one day to have a Premier League game be played in New York City. So at the moment, you're thinking, it gets worse. Promise you, it gets worse. I even have a sort of crazy idea that there would be a day where we play one game in Tokyo, one game a few hours later in LA, one game in Rio, one game a few hours later in Riyadh, and somewhere else, so that the Premier League can be fully celebrated. He didn't stop there though, because the madness continued. He said, let's figure out a way to offer them very cheap travel and accommodation so that if Liverpool is playing Forest, Liverpool fans coming to New York will be able to make it an attractive thing for them for sure. Now, look, I got to tie this in to a comment about the NFL. The difference between the Premier League doing this and the NFL doing this, to me, is fairly simple. The Premier League doesn't need to sell itself around the world. It is already a huge product, a global success, the most profitable and the most watched league in the world. So they don't need to do what the NFL is doing. Yes, the NFL have gone to Mexico, to London, to Germany, to Brazil, and I think to a few other places. And yes, it is growing the league. It is doing what it is meant to do. And I'm a new convert to NFL myself over the past 3 or 4 years. But it doesn't work. The culture just doesn't work for the Premier League. So somebody pointed out to me in the Discord group, FSG have just spent a load of money building 2 new stands or extending 2 stands to what? Try to take the game away? It is just self-serving greed. And just when I thought that FSG maybe had finally gotten to a place where we would see the stupidity stop, off again they go. Now look, there are people who are going to be for this idea, but I can say one thing to you. You will absolutely be in the minority, because I've spent the day reading social media posts, fan forums, journalist takes on it, and everybody thinks it's a ridiculous idea. In fact, I was watching Back Pages and Sky Sports News a couple of weeks ago, and the idea of a game or two from the Premier League being taken abroad each year was basically laughed at by the journalists, because it is again an example of corporate greed and not understanding the fans, the model of football in Europe, and how powerful fans are around these subjects. So I understand it might work for the NFL, and I understand it might work for other leagues, but it absolutely will not work for the Premier League because it doesn't need to be done. And here's another thing. You all go to Premier League games or your supermarkets or wherever else, and we're all being taught about the green power, green energy, save the planet. How is this saving the planet? Having fans traipsing from England over to America, because that's what he wants to do here, make it cheap and affordable for Liverpool fans to travel over to America or to Saudi Arabia or to anywhere else to watch these games. How is that going to help the old global warming situation? And on top of that, there's the fact that nothing's wrong with the Premier League and people already pay a fortune for their season tickets. It's already difficult enough for us as somewhat locals, whether you're in Liverpool, Ireland, or somewhere around Europe, to get to a game. This is just absolute stupidity of the highest order, and it's very much a case of you don't understand your own fan base yet again. Take the temperature of the Liverpool fan base on this, or other clubs' fans, and see what way it works out. Because I can tell you, it's a stupid idea and nobody's for it. And that's before we get into probably the biggest problem with all of this, which is player welfare. How are you going to tell me if Liverpool are playing, as an example, in the Champions League game away in Turkey on a Wednesday night, that they're then going to jet over to Tokyo, LA, Rida, or anywhere else to play a Premier League game on a Saturday, and that isn't going to impact those players and their well-being? We're already in a time where the PFA and football unions are stepping in because players are being absolutely run into the ground. You've got the new Club World Cup coming on that nobody really seems to want other than FIFA and the greedy men. And once again, this is just a TV executive, which is the world that Tom Werner comes from, trying to look at it from a corporate standpoint, trying to look at it from a money standpoint. It isn't about money, Tom. Liverpool generate more than enough money. Liverpool are absolutely loved. I think the most Googled team in America from English football is Liverpool FC. So yes, you can tap into that market. That's what pre-season's for. That's why we're going over to play Arsenal. That's why they're playing Betis. That's why they're playing Manchester United. And it's absolutely wonderful that all of the local fans get to come, and I love what the club do around making sure that local fans are able to come and access teams. They do events, supporters clubs come out. It's brilliant, but that's where it needs to stop. This idea of the game getting moved over there is madness. If you wanted to move one crazy game, do the Champions League final or something stupid, but leave the domestic leagues alone, because it's the lifeblood of England, the amount of money that it brings into the UK economy. Why would anybody want to take that away? Why would the UK government or Liverpool look at this and go, we can make more money here without having to travel? Why would we go off to the other side of the world? What about our fans? What about the increased cost for them? It's just greed. It's just greed. And at a time where I thought finally FSG were starting to get it, we wouldn't have any more of that Super League nonsense where they don't listen to fans. Tom Werner again speaking out of his backside. It's absolute madness. Tom, listen to me. Nobody wants it. Stop being greedy. You already make more than enough money from the way the football club is headed. Nobody wants this to happen. Even on The Athletic, in the comment section, which is usually a good mix of American fans, European fans, and fans from all over the world. Even the American Liverpool fans don't want this, because they believe that the magic of wanting to someday be able to come and watch Liverpool is to have that Anfield experience. Now, you might make an argument to say that it might grow a footballing culture over in America, or we might see a different way for how Liverpool will be supported over there. Don't care. Liverpool are based in Liverpool. Arsenal are based in London. Manchester United are based in Manchester. It's that simple. Don't break what isn't broken, and stop trying to always rinse an extra few quid. There's no way I could see Jurgen Klopp sticking for this if he was still around. So I hope, if the idea is muted to Arne Slot a little bit further down the line, that he calls it out for what it is, which is just another greedy cash grab. So maybe these are the type of moments that stop me from getting any access to Liverpool Football Club, because somebody has to speak out. And thankfully we have a platform that I'm going to do just that. Idiot of an idea. Stupid idea. I don't know what Tom Werner's thinking. And again, it's like they can't go a few weeks without saying something silly. They need to backtrack on this very quickly. He's even said it himself in his statement. He said, I have this sort of crazy idea. Yes, Tom, it is crazy. And for all the reasons you think it is, and more. Most importantly, it's against the fan culture. So stop trying to change everything. The Premier League is tickety-boo as it is. Leave it alone. Don't try to traipse it around the world. We've seen the success or lack of Spain moving their version of the Community Shield over to the Middle East somewhere. It just doesn't, or to the Gulf somewhere. It doesn't work. Nobody cares. Nobody attends the games. It doesn't mean anything. Leave the Premier League alone. And now I really want to know what you guys feel about it, because for me it's just the height of stupidity seeing Tom Werner coming out talking this crap yet again. It's a no from me, a massive no, but we want to know what you guys think, so let us know. Right, let's see how you guys are feeling. Sell up today, please, said Asif. What was this? Could not get a short link to post. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I've lost that. Werner is off his chump, said Finty Tin. Nuts, said AP26. Werner out, said Kyle. He has no minerals, said Christopher. I agree. I'm glad to see that you guys think this is crazy, because there will be some people that like the idea. And, you know, we all look at sport through different eyes. But for me, this is just madness. Madness. Why don't I buy Liverpool? I wish I could, mate. I wish I could. No, do you know what? No, I don't. Because I'd end up going broke, because I'd try to pour every last dime I have into Liverpool Football Club. But it's it's absolute stupidity. And I'm glad that you guys as well are calling this out for the stupid idea that it is. And by the way, also FSG or John W. Henry was talking, and I don't know what he was at. He was at a convention or somewhere, and he was asked about the idea of selling off any of his assets. And he said, and I quote, myself and my wife Linda, live and work in Boston. So we're not going to be selling the Red Sox anytime soon. That's a bit of a paraphrasing. I said quote, but I'm paraphrasing a bit. But he did mention Liverpool. Now, I don't think he's going to sell Liverpool, because I think he feels there's still more growth there to be had. And again, I'm okay with that. I've always said the way that FSG have gone about modelling themselves on not taking money out of the club, but taking money in the longer term when they sell it. I'm always been sound with that. No problem with it. You come in, make sure we're competitive, grow the business, build a stadium, all that stuff, make your money when you sell it. Much, much better idea than coming in and just fleecing money out of the club. But these type of greedy ideas need to stop. And take Mighty Red with you and drop him somewhere over the Atlantic as well. Next Saturday, I'll be at Anfield watching Taylor Swift. Look at Rachel getting the tickets. Well in, Rachel. That's class. I know she is coming with her, I don't know what the name of the tour is. But yeah, you might see Kloppo there, Rachel, because he's going to see Tay-Tay as well. Mullingar in the house. Americans really shouldn't own football clubs. But about 10 English football clubs or Premier League football clubs have some form of American ownership. And look, I'm not against anybody owning a club from any part of the world, but I am against the idea of trying to ruin the league by taking games overseas when there's absolutely no need for it. They have taken money out of the club, all those transfers and little money for Klopp. So, David, if you look at the books, they haven't. The only money FSG have taken back from the club is the money that was loaned for the likes of the stadium expansion, the training ground and stuff like that. They don't take dividends out every year. Truly, mate, I don't want to defend them on this, but they don't. They don't take dividends. They very much just base their profit in the future off the asset growing in value, which it very much has. They bought the club for about £300 million, and now it's worth anywhere above £3.5 billion sterling. So, you know, that's a pretty good return on their investment over the time they've had it. So, yeah, and that will, of course, allow them as well, if they wanted, to borrow in the future on the strength of these assets that they own growing in value, to buy another club or buy another sports franchise. But look, I've no problem with the way that they run the club from the point of view of looking to make the money in the long term, but I do agree with you that we could do with some more money for the manager as well. David Lynch said that Ederson is not a target for us. And, again, I don't believe that was his exact wording, Pranav. I believe he said something along the lines of, he's been looked at, but he's not aware of him being a top target. Anyway, I'd go all out for Bruno Guimaraes, who we could get for around 70 million. Wouldn't mind Douglas Luiz as well, who's been mentioned. So, on the Bruno Guimaraes thing, Pranav, and thank you for your super chat, bro. The only people I've really seen link us to Bruno is the Echo. And even at that, it's more opinion-based than factual. I don't think he'd be available for 70 million quid because he's got a release clause that's in play until, I believe, the end of June, which is £100 million. And after that, it's up to Newcastle, I guess, what they take. We're 33-1 with the bookies to sign Bruno Guimaraes. That kind of gives you an indication of how unlikely it is. Favourites to sign him? Manchester City, which I could see. So I would say I'm with you with regards to, I don't know how far along, and I've been honest about this. I don't know how strong the interest is towards an offer for Ederson, but I very much believe that we are strongly looking at him. And I would expect David Lynch or James Pearce or anybody else to kind of play it down a bit, because this has happened so many times. You've seen stuff come out from, let's say, media in mainland Europe, and it hasn't been backed up by the English journalists, and then it's happened. But there's also been cases, of course, where there's been nonsense spouted by the media in Europe, and the Premier League-based journalists poo-poo the idea because it's nonsense. So where this one falls in, bro, I don't know. My partner got them for me and my friends. Nice. Well in, Rachel. That's going to be a great night as well, and hopefully a nice little earner for the club. Oh, Ben couldn't get a short link, so we asked Mark to post it. All good. So yes, the link is at the top of the chat. And look, I always tell you guys that link is about our tickets and stuff like that, but it also gives you our social media. So if you want to give Anfield Agenda a follow on X, on TikTok, or on Instagram, those links have got you covered. Right, Craig, hope the fam are doing well. Good, yes, my daughter started a new job this week, so she's over the moon. Lucas is now off school for the weekend, so he's really happy about that as well. Yeah, all good. And the Houlden household. My new computer chair arrived today, so new season, new chair. So I'll put that together tomorrow. And by I definitely mean I'll look at the instructions while my wife puts it together and I do nothing. That's probably what's going to happen. She's far better at the DIY than me. Craig, I think you're the best Liverpool YouTuber ever. Nobody beats Craig. I agree, Hannah. I agree. If only the club would feel that way as well. Now, look, I appreciate the love, Hannah, but we're lucky as a fan base. You know, we've got some great content creators that make Liverpool fan content. I couldn't even name them. There's so many. But there is something for everybody, and I'm just glad that there's some people who are interested in what we're doing, although not tonight, really, by the looks of how quiet the stream is. But, as I said earlier, I don't mind these quiet streams because it gives us all a chance to talk. Right. If there are any stream glitches or anything, do just refresh, but there shouldn't be, and this is annoying me if there is. Let me see what one I'm on here. 2.4 gigahertz. That should be steady for me. If there is any stream glitches, I do apologise. Just refresh and hopefully it should be fine. Right, let's get into the news anyway. So, first thing I seen today was something that popped up last night at about 12:30, and it was an exclusive from David Ornstein that said Premier League fails in a bid to close the loophole that let clubs use profits from the sale of hotels, training grounds and other tangible assets in FFP submissions. Proposal at the AGM fell short of the 2/3 majority needed. Only 11 of the 20 clubs were willing to vote to close that loophole. So this is how the likes of Todd Boehly and Chelsea will get away with it. So if you haven't seen the news, there's been talk that Chelsea have sold a hotel to another group that's kind of owned by the same people, but it allows the FFP calculations to be changed to allow that as a sold asset and money freed up on the books. There's also been talk of them doing it with Cobham, their training ground. I don't know where we're at with this. Football's getting grubbier and greasier by the week. And this from David Ornstein kind of surprised me because I would have thought that this loophole would have been voted to be closed. But there you go. It just goes to say you can't always see what's going to happen in footy. Now, Wolves VAR, scrapping, that was voted down by 19-1, as we discussed yesterday as well. So VAR is unfortunately here to stay. Here's a bit of a funny line for you from The Guardian, and it's a quote from Manchester City's chairman. Are you ready? Because this just shows the stupidity and the hypocrisy from City. Manchester City's chairman, Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, has described the Manchester City Football Group as a financial and economic machine after it posted revenue of £877.1 million for the year June 30th, 2023, despite a £126.9 million pre-tax loss. So the financial and economic machine lost £126.9 million pre-tax. So if there's such a financial machine, why does he want to break the rules up so they can dominate more? Why do they want to remove the associated party transaction safeguard that's in place? So if you don't understand the associated party transaction, what this means is, let's say I own Liverpool Football Club. So Craig buys Liverpool Football Club. And I also have a really, really successful, website that generates me billions of quid. So basically what you can do is go take a sponsorship out. So say the market value of your current shirt sponsorship deal is 10 million quid a year. And I go to my friendly self-owned company and go, I think we should sponsor Craig's Football Club for 50 million quid a year. Well, the rules as we have them now have a group that look at this and decide if that is fair market value. Basically, is that what similar clubs of a similar profile are getting for the shirt sponsorship deals? Or are these favourable deals, which of course they will be, so nothing will stop Manchester City being able to get a £200 million a year sponsorship deal off Etihad Airways, as an example, if these associated party transaction rules aren't enforced. So this is why it's really important that football stands up to City now. And I've seen Simon Jordan going in on them, and I don't really agree with Simon Jordan on it a lot, but I agree with him on this. It's madness. So yeah, they're just they're crying about being the tyranny of the majority, where they want to make the tyranny the minority and make them have even more power. Madness. Do you think we really need a CDM? Yes, definitely. So we have Endo, and Endo does a good job, but he's not elite. I've got to be honest about it. I don't think he's elite. I do think we need to bring somebody else in, because I don't want to see Alexis McAllister coming back to having to play in that position, and we're not sure how quickly Stefan is going to get back up to speed and how he's going to get along. So for me, yes, I would say that we definitely need a defensive midfielder. Now, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that, but here's good news. So The Athletic again, I want to attribute this to them, say Liverpool are prepared to spend big money on a player they feel can have a significant impact, like Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker did when they arrived in 2018. So hopefully that's the case where they put up the money and we don't just hear talky talk, because there's been too much of that over the years about, oh yeah, if the right player comes up, oh yeah, we'll spend the money. We just haven't found that right player yet for the last 5-6 years. So let's wait and see. I hope they spend, because I think we need to spend to compete. A little bit more and another link to Liverpool for Geertruida, and these ones aren't going away. In fact, every day they seem to be getting more and more strength to them. So this says Liverpool are planning a move to sign Feyenoord defender Lucharel Geertruida, who was valued at around £25 million. And I think, and I'm open to be corrected on this, folks, but I think this is the same outlet that initially broke the story about Arne Slot coming to Liverpool. So, let's wait and see. There is a few clubs rumoured to be interested. I think Spurs and a couple of others. But I still don't know if there's any truth to it or not, because the reports seem to be coming mainly from the Dutch side. Oh, Hawk, I seen you in the comments being a little bitch, mate. So what Hawky Hawk has said here is, what about the terrorism charges against Hackers Liverpool? So firstly, my dumb little ill-informed friend, there are no terrorism charges against Liverpool. There is some laundering charges against Standard Chartered that have previously been thrown out of court to the tune of about, I think, 100 billion. But they're a shirt sponsorship deal. And I hate to be the one to break the news to you, bro, but Liverpool don't own Standard Chartered. And I know you're talking about the hackers because Liverpool were fined for accessing Manchester City's database of scouting. And yes, that happened. And we've addressed it many times on the channel. But here's the thing, Hawk. Whataboutery doesn't work. Because you, my friend, are part of the problem. You are the thick minority that allows this type of crap to happen because you're ill-informed, you haven't got a Scooby-Doo what you're talking about, and you go around everywhere spamming nonsense that just shows how uneducated, ill-informed and stupid your comments really are. So rather than trying to sound like a prepubescent moron, how about, I don't know, researching, spending time not spamming chats and inform yourself on what's happening? Those charges are going to be chucked out of court as well, by the way, because they're from a whistleblower who's already tried similar things and those charges were knocked out of court. So, again, bro, you need to understand the difference between Liverpool, the football club, and a sponsorship deal. Now, am I happy with all the corporate deals Liverpool have? No, but it isn't my decision. And if we need to call out stuff, unlike Manchester City who just look everywhere else to blame everyone, I will address it. Same way I addressed the nonsense with our owners wanting the game to be moved away from the Premier League over to America. I have a pair. That's the difference, bro. I will call it out. Anywho. What's debatable, looking lolly? If it's about... I don't know what's debatable. If it's anything I've said, I don't know. I think you're talking about best Liverpool player, is it? Well, that's definitely up for debate. You know, it's what you like, isn't it? Some people are just trolls and keyboard warriors. I know, but do you know what the funny thing about them is? It's those who know the least that seem to have the most to say. They hear a line somewhere and then they swear it's gospel and they go spread it. But they don't actually take the time to inform themselves or look into it. So they're like a wet dream for the likes of Facebook's ill-informed posts that you see on there all the time, because they just hear it and repeat it like a parrot. They don't have enough between their ears to actually go and look at it themselves and think with some form of intelligence, is there something to this? If I'm going to talk about this, maybe I need to educate myself about it. No, let's just throw out a one-liner and think we're clever. Who do I think is the best England player? Foden. Probably Foden. Yeah, I'd say I feel comfortable enough saying Phil Foden. What have we got? Who would you rather buy, Thuram or Ederson? Ederson for me. Thuram's a good player. Certainly comes from good football and family as well. But I really just like Ederson. And I think when you look at Ederson, for me, I think I look for the boxes to be ticked. Age profile, yeah, tick. Although, to be fair, Thuram would have that as well. Price-wise, both of them would have a big tick there as well. Yep, in and around the right type of money that we usually see Liverpool happy enough to spend. Then I go for the experience, and this is where I think Ederson has him. Ederson obviously had the win this year in the Europa League with Atalanta, and I've been really impressed every single time I've watched them. Whereas Nice, I can't say I've watched as much of Kefren Thuram. And by the way, actually on Nice, it looks as though they're up for sale. At least according to a report today that suggests that Jim Ratcliffe and Manchester United have basically been given a 1-year grace period, or will be given a 1-year grace period, for both teams to be allowed to compete in the Europa League. And after that, something has to be done. And it looks like that Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are willing to sell Nice. So if anybody wants to buy themselves a football club, there you go, just go and buy Nice. Spend big, they say, activate the release clause for Neves. That would probably be going too big for me, but I wouldn't say no. So United have apparently had a £51 million bid for him turned down. Then we have United apparently having a £51 million bid for Lenny Yoro turned down. But I think if we did go in for the kid Neves from Benfica, you're talking probably about €100 million. But look, I look at it like this, Stevie boy. Whoever the number one target is, and I don't know who that is, I just want them to get it. So if Liverpool look at it and think Neves is the guy, cool, I'm okay with that. Go get him. I just don't want this dragging on and on and on and on, because the more time the coach gets to work with these players, the better, and already in a short window. So, yeah, they talk a big game, Stevie boy, about the money, but let's see them back it up. Craig, can you see Liverpool buying £100 million plus for a player? Well, I have to answer yes, Darwizzy, because we tried to do it last year. You know, we put in the offer for Caicedo. Caicedo made up his mind and went elsewhere. But for me, yeah, I have to say I do think we would do it. But don't ask me if it'll be this summer or who that player might be. But yeah, I can see a time. Now, I think the real question that needs to be asked there is, why would we spend 100 million? So is it 100 million that we've spent just because he's the right player, or are we spending it because he's the right player and we've sold somebody? See, that's the key part for me. So they're quick to point to the sales or the purchases of Alisson and Van Dijk, but they neglect to mention the Coutinho money pretty much helped those two signings. So it's a case of, I'd like them to spend that money, yes, but not because we've brought it in elsewhere, because they actually spend it. Jordan Peter Lee Jones, how are you, my friend? Said, Craig, can't help but feel this window is going to be very underwhelming. Please change my mind. I can't change your mind, mate, because I'm also on the fence as to what I'm expecting. For me, we need to address three key positions: centre back, defensive midfield, and an attacker, whether it's a wide player or a versatile attacker. And that's before we talk about outgoings. So I think it's a question that we have to wait and see what happens. I'm not overly optimistic. I do feel like we'll probably see a cheap and cheerful window. Is that going to be enough to get us challenging? Probably not. But yeah, at this point, it's a bit of a blind leap, right? Because we don't know. Everything is very quiet at the minute. And quiet sometimes with Liverpool means good. But quiet can also mean nothing's going on. So I think the business that will come up before the Euros, if any, is going to be interesting. And then when the Euros is on and afterwards, the madness will commence, because you'll see us linked with any player who takes a good corner at the Euros. They'll be linked to Liverpool immediately and United, and so it's a difficult one. I wish I had more confidence that I could sit here and change your mind, but truly I'm just as unsure as you are. What is your opinion on Arne Slot? It's an interesting choice. I like what I've been able to learn about him and the way he conducts himself on the sideline, the way he breaks down games, the way he interacts with his players. I like his style. But I can say all of that and I can praise him to the end of the earth, but I'm still going to have to issue the line that we all feel he's stepping into big shoes. You know, he's taken over from Kloppo. But I do feel he has the energy, the enthusiasm, the coaching ability and the nous to do okay. You know, what's okay next season for me is Champions League qualification and getting out of the group stage. But let's wait and see. I'm excited, but also a little bit anxious. Liverpool 67 said, I'd rather spend 100 million on two players. I've no problem with that either, if they're players that I can look at and think that improves the first team. So if we signed Ederson, would I feel that improves the first team? Yes, I would. Because it gives, one, competition for Endo, and two, gives us options. And I think he would start. Centre-back wise, again, I'd like to see us buy a centre-back that we feel is going to come in right now and either challenge the likes of Kwanzaa and Kanade to partner Van Dijk, or start pressuring Van Dijk. So I don't want to buy a defender that we have to wait 2 or 3 years for him to blossom, because we already have that with Kwanzaa coming through, and Kanade's relatively young as well. So they're two key positions that I feel we need Alisson and Van Dijk levels of quality to bring in. What the Premier League should do is take all teams to the last game of the season all over the world, each team in a different country, to build a fan base. So a couple of things on that. One, it's already been spoken about and voted down. Two, they don't need to do it. Like, the Premier League is the most watched league in the world. They don't need to go to all parts of the world to play a competitive game. They can do it in the summer. Clubs do it all the time now. You have these type of mini competitions and series on in America or Asia or anywhere else, and it's a great idea because it gives local fans a chance to get up close, see the team, the manager, and get a feel for it. But the competitive stuff should be kept in England, 100%. Yeah, and look, anybody who thinks that if Liverpool go over to, I don't know, let's say New York, that you're not going to be fleeced for the price of those tickets, I mean, just look at the price of the ones for pre-season games and then come back to me. So I think it's a silly idea. And let's say that last game of the season that you've spoken about was a title decider. Now let's just hear me out hypothetically. So Liverpool are playing and Liverpool need to win the match to win the league. And Liverpool are scheduled to have a home game and we're playing Forest. But we have to take that home game and go over to New York and gamble that we'll be okay over in New York with it. Or let's say you're a relegation threatened team and your last game of the season is a home game against the mid-table team where you're going to need every advantage that can possibly be given to you, but you're now having to jaunt yourself over to the other side of the world, lose the home fans, that raucous support, lose the pitch that you're used to playing on, the facilities and everything you're used to on a daily basis. It doesn't work. The last game of the season is just potentially way too important to move it away. It's just madness. And that's before you even get into the Champions League places, the Europa League places and all that stuff. Should Liverpool sell Salah? So let's just look at this poll. Would you want Liverpool to fly all the way to New York to play a single game? 13% of people said yes, and 87% of people have said some form of no. The Salah thing, would I sell him? Yes, tomorrow. I don't mean to be rude about that, but yes, I would. I think anybody who's in any way savvy would say yes, sell him. Because I don't want to lose him for free. So let me pitch you a hypothetical. Two scenarios here. One, Salah has an amazing season and leaves on a free. How are you going to feel? And don't tell me you're going to feel, oh, it's great because, you know, he's left on a high. You're going to feel a little bit bitter about it when you've not brought in any money to replace him and you're being told the club have 30 or 40 million quid to spend. Now, on the other side of it, let's say he has a stinker of a season and then you're stuck with a player who's not playing very well on a load of dough and you're still going to lose him for free. There's too much of a risk for me with the Salah situation this year because we don't know what Salah we're going to get. So for me, sell. Sell, sell, sell. If there's a deal to be done that he's open to. If he's not open to it, there's nothing can be done. He's the power now to sit there, run his contract down and leave on a free. So does Verd, so does Trent. But I think he's the one most likely to do it. So, sell for me. Yeah, I think that's the common sense answer. Now, if he had 2 years left on his deal, I'd probably roll the dice on this season and say keep him. See if we can get a good year out of him and then look to sell him next year. But unfortunately, that's not the position we're in. Would you rather get a left-footed centre-back for cheaper, possibly Hincapié, to later replace VVD, or a righty as a backup? I think you do have to start looking to replace Virgil at some point. But if Virgil, let's say, Anthony, as an example, signs a 2-year deal, then I think we bring in a centre-back for the here and now who can play in either side. You know, Mark Gay is my choice. You know, I was looking at him for England tonight as well. I believe he's a right-footed centre-back, plays on the left side, or was tonight for England. And he's the one that I'd sign if Palace were willing to do business. I think, you know, he's going to be an established England international at this point, Premier League proven, and I like him. So he'd be the one that I'd look for personally. And again, he would tick that homegrown box as well. But I did want to move on to speak about a couple of things because I know people are coming in wanting to know about EZE and I know people are coming in wanting to know about the Salah thing as well. So let me start off with the Salah thing. And this is quite ambitious. So even the article itself says, shock Salah claim. Reports in Turkey claim that Galatasaray are plotting a shock move for Mo this summer. Now, the journalist in question has gone as far as to say that talks have taken place between Galatasaray and the player, and then they go on to talk about Salah having 1 year left. Now look, Turkey for me is a great place to go and play football or manage football because they love their footy. But I don't know if that's the right move for Mo. You know, if he's going to Turkey to play for Gala, will he be supported and idolised? Of course. Their football fans are brilliant. But could he pay him the money? I don't know about that. You know, I don't know if they'd be able to afford to give him the money he's on here. And they certainly wouldn't be able to give him the money that, let's say, Saudi would be able to offer him. So I don't think this one's a runner, personally. Because if Mo's going to stay in Europe and compete in Europe, better level than that for him, I would say. But it depends what eyes you're looking at it through. Because if I'm looking at it through, you know, Liverpool's eyes, I'd say any sale is better than losing them for free. But I just don't see it being realistic. So for me, I would pile this on a certain island off the Mediterranean, bullshit island. You were going to talk about Dario Osorio in a little bit as well, by the way, for people in the chat who were asking about him. But we did get a confirmation today of what EZE's release clause is. And this was interesting because a lot of you guys have spoken about EZE and EZE. Both guys are ones that you guys like. EZE, I think, what is he, 25 years of age? It's believed his release clause is £60 million. But you'd maybe need about 7 or 8 million in add-ons. And that's according to an article that went out earlier on today. So 60 million quid seems to be the release clause in EZE's contract, according to this piece anyway. So is he worth 60 million? I would rather EZE personally. Got a couple of years on him age-wise. But EZE is a very fine player as well. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not. He is. He's a good player. Is he a 60 million player? Maybe. Now, EZE's right coming into his prime as well at 25. So, you know, it would be in Liverpool's acceptable range with regards to age, definitely. So 60 million quid. Can we get a poll on that, Ben? Would you sign EZE at Liverpool for 60 million? Would I take Gay as a centre back? Yes. I've spoken about him many times. I like Mark Gay, and I think he'd fit in very well at Liverpool. And I know we've certainly looked at him previously. Last summer, as an example, we were speaking about him as well. How is EZE's injury history? Honestly, dude, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody in the chat or Mark or somebody will send me his injury record, but off the top of my head, bro, I don't know. Anthony saying vote the Shinners. We don't do politics, Anthony, so I've got to give you a little warning there, bro. Now, let's say I'd probably be voting alongside you if I was voting. But, you know, we try to keep politics out of the chat, mate. I hope you understand where we're coming from, because it's a divisive issue and we want to bring people together on here. I think we see a Mo, VVD, Trent contract extension all for 3+ years. I think you're being a bit optimistic there, Brett, to be honest with you. I think we see a Trent contract extension. I think we see a Virgil contract extension. But I don't think you're going to see a Mo one. For a couple of reasons. One, he's about to make a big amount of money if he hangs off 6 months, 7 months. January comes around, Mohamed Salah can sign a pre-contract agreement to join any league outside of the Premier League, and nothing Liverpool can do about it. And I feel like I'd be astonished if he gets an extension, but I'd be relieved as well. So if Liverpool signed him on a 2-year extension, I'd be absolutely happy with that. My only qualm here is losing him on a free. And I genuinely do believe his best years are behind him, but I would back the club if they wanted to extend. I can't get my head around the idea of losing him for free. I just feel right now his agent and Mo have all the leverage in this conversation. You know, they can sit back and be patient. They're in no rush. So, you know, the longer it ticks along, as I've always said, the more the balance tips in favour of Salah and his agent. Can we make a poll about whether people want Kane at Liverpool? I think it's a silly poll because he's 32, 33? Starting to have back injuries. And also, why would we want Kane? That's a guarantee we're not going to get a trophy. We can't have that Kane curse coming to Liverpool, bro. He's a great striker, knows where the goal is and will score a load of goals, but we want to win trophies. So we can't have Harry Kane at Liverpool because the only thing Kane guarantees, as well as 20 or 30 goals, is no trophies. So we'll have to pass up on that one. What about Pedro Neto to Liverpool? Again, he's a player that has been linked quite a bit. £85 million is the price tag I've seen mentioned that Wolves would want. But my only concern there is his injuries. Because Pedro Neto the player, no crumbs about, more than good enough. I've always said this about Neto. He's got that fire in his belly. He's got that fight, that spirit that I think would fit in at Liverpool. It's only really the injury record that would worry me there. I wouldn't even care if we paid the price. You know, if we paid the money, I'd be fine. You know, because it's not my money. But would he improve the team? Yes. It's just the injury record that I'd be concerned with. Craig, do you think Liverpool should transition to buying first-team prospects like Man City did with Julian Alvarez rather than ready-made first-team players? Transition to buy first-team prospects? Dude, we've spent a lot of time stocking up the underage levels with exactly the type of player you're speaking about there. So Liverpool have gone out and brought in the likes of a Bobby Clark, a Trey Neone, Ben Doak, all players who are ready 2-3 years down the line. So we've done that, and to be fair to the club, I think we've done that very well. But now we need 2-3 first team players to come right in, because let's look at it. We've got Trey Neone, Bobby Clark, James McConnell, Connor Bradley, Jaden Dans, Lewis Kumas. There's probably a couple of centre backs I'm not speaking about as well. Owen Beck. Who else is there? Luke Chambers, Ben Doak, Kate Gordon, Trent Cone-Doherty, all just coming through or thereabouts, with probably 3 or 4 more I'm not even thinking about. So I think we're well stocked in the for the future department. It's the here and now I think we're a little bit short. You're wrong, it is fans' money. It is fans' money, I know that. But what I mean is, let's say 75 million for Virgil. Nobody cares about that 75 million now, James, because he's done the business, right? So I don't if Liverpool get the player that I feel is going to benefit the team, I can get overspending a bit, if you get me. But if it turns out to be a stinker like a Naby Keita, then it becomes a bigger problem. But I do understand what you mean about, yes, it is our money, but what I mean is it's not my money, as in I'm not given the 100 million quid. So my question would be, is he good enough to improve the first team? And if the answer to that's yes, then more often than not, I'm okay. Realistically, do you feel owners should make just enough money to be financially interesting, break even, or be a self-made fans run at a loss? It depends how you look at it. You know, in the modern day, Danielson, we need to have some financial prudence. We need to have the ability, but we're blessed because we're Liverpool Football Club. We're one of the top 5 or 6 cash generating football clubs in the world. We have the ability to spend more, and while it is good that we have no concerns around FFP or anything like that, so just to give you a heads up, you know when you always hear them talking about profit and sustainability rules, that over a 3-year period, a Premier League football club isn't allowed to lose more than £105 million in total over that 3-year rolling period. So you've seen clubs like Aston Villa, Newcastle, United and others come close to that. Liverpool are only at 6 million. So Liverpool have only lost 6 million quid over the last 3 years. We've plenty of scope to be able to spend money. The self-sustaining model is great, and to make that more self-sustaining, of course, you've got to keep bringing in cash and generating deals and being successful. Success breeds success financially and, of course, with the attraction to players. Look at Real Madrid. So I think a little bit more risk in the transfer market financially, but not stupidity. Let's not go out there and completely just overpay and bring in everyone. The reason why I get personally so worked up about it is we know how good our transfer committee has been. And yes, there's been a couple of failures over the years, but more often than not, I think Liverpool have done really well in the transfer market. So we should have confidence that if a player is suggested to the owners and the player is expensive, That the hard work and research has been done, and that these people have proven themselves over time to know what they're talking about. That's my take on it. Yeah, so yes, I like a self-sustaining club. I'd love the idea of a fan-run club, but unfortunately those days are gone with the way football is and how expensive football clubs are. So I think Germany have a great model, but it's too late. The horse is bolted for that to happen in England. Craig, we've already assessed the players on Anfield Agenda. All Slow has to do is watch the stream. Arnie, if you're watching, mate, let us know your thoughts. Come up with one of those Jurgen Kloppy type of accounts, you know, the Stephen Klopp one. And let us know your thoughts, Arnie, in the comment section. Gertrude, first and foremost, Arnie. What are we saying? Is he coming? Is he good enough? Talk to me. The Chelsea model is criminal. Honestly, of all the teams, I don't know how they get away with it. Chelsea just seem to be this football club that, from the outside to silly people like me, look like they can do what they want. So again, just in case you didn't know, for 19 years or so that Roman Abramovich owned that football club, on average, Chelsea lost about £900,000 per week, which is about 750 odd million pound. I don't remember them being held accountable for that when Abramovich went off. It seems like with the stroke of a pen, that disappeared. Now, I'm open to being corrected on that. Now we have Todd Bowley coming in. And not only has he found loopholes which he's exploited, which are legal. We've got to point that out. These loopholes were legal. He exploited them. You can say whether it was clever or not. That's up to you. But now he spent £1 billion. £1 billion in about a year. And somehow it's okay. I don't get it. Because do you remember when they were spending all this money and they were signing the Cole Palmers and they were signing all these players? One of the things we normal football fans were told was this was a huge gamble from Todd Bowley and Chelsea because they have to guarantee European football at a high level to be able to do this. And they haven't. They're in the Conference League. So when are they going to get held accountable? Or when are they going to get raked over the coals? Because if they're in the Conference League, it means they now have to satisfy UEFA's FFP, which is more stringent than the Premier League's one. So how? I don't get it. It's like they get a free pass. Of all the Premier League clubs, they're the one that most of us would just go, what? How? I don't understand it. I don't understand how they can constantly overpay for players, overpay for salaries, give them really long contracts, but it's okay. So let's have a look at the poll that we put up. We're going to keep it up for longer, but would you sign EZE for £60 million, which is believed to be his release clause? Yes or no? Let me know with a vote there. Southgate did change a winning team. Now there's a fire drill. Yeah, look, I'm praying. I'm not religious, but I'm hoping every day that when Ineos are doing this little Manchester United background checks, research, whatever, end of season review, that they come up with the answer, Gareth Southgate. Every fibre of my being is hoping that Ineos pull that trigger and make Gareth Southgate the Manchester United manager. Please do it. Please. Because, you know, we can keep laughing at Ken Lasso, and that's fine. But my God, the laughter when Southgate comes in. Please, make it happen. Chelsea sell a lot of youth players for decent money. They did. They have. But they've also spent £1 billion in a year. Now, they've had some friendly Saudi deals, the likes of Koulibaly and Mendy and some others that have gone over to Saudi for exorbitant sums. But yes, they've always been good at selling the youth market as well. But come on, £1 billion. No other football club I know on planet Earth has ever, in one window or 1 year, spent £1 billion goddamn pound sterling. Like, that's basically 2 Evertons. You could buy 2 Evertons for the money they spent on transfers. First Man City, then Chelsea need to be looked into. To be fair to Chelsea, they did self-report on an issue when Clear Lake Capital and Todd Bowley took over. They did find some irregularities in the accounting and self-reported from the Roman Abramovich era to the Premier League. But other than that, I don't know. So, do you remember we spoke about Luis Guilherme and that deal with West Ham falling apart? Well, it's back on track. Fabrizio Romano posted earlier on to say, exclusive, West Ham verbally agreed deal to sign Brazilian talent Luis Guilherme. Agreement done with Palmeiras pending medicals to take place in England next week. 23 million fixed fee, 7 million in add-ons with a 20% sell-on clause to Palmeiras. Final steps, ... Here we go soon. So it looks like that deal is back on for West Ham. And it's an interesting one. Now Liverpool, not to be outdone, have looked at their own South American winger. And this piece, which is Google translated, so bear with me, but there are many articles written about it elsewhere, said, as reported by La Tercera, Liverpool have offered up to $10 million, which is about 7 point something million pound, I think, to buy Dario Osorio, who is a winger playing for Midtjylland. He is valued at about 7 or 8 million pound. He is a Chilean international and he's going to be playing in the Copa America. They say that the Copa America will have a big part to play in whether he's signed or not. But I want to just know, do you know anything about him? Because before today, the name Dario Osorio meant nothing to me. But, you know, you've watched the old highlight clips and they look good, but of course they would. But has anybody got real experience of this kid? Is he the real deal? I think he's young anyway. Let me go back through my notes. I think he's like 21. So this other article said Liverpool are reportedly preparing an important offer to sign Midtjylland youngster Dario Osorio. That's according to La Tercera or Terceca, who claim Liverpool are willing to offer around £7.9 million plus a sell-on clause for the Chilean forward. I believe he's a right winger. Richard, the reason your comments are being removed, mate, is you're spamming. So you seen the comment about the 41 million for EZE, but you know, please don't just put it in that often, mate, because it stops other people getting a chance to get their comments in and get read. So I would agree. Look, the cheaper we can get them, brilliant. If it's 41 million, happy days. But that wasn't the question we asked, though, because the question was about his release clause, which is rumoured to be about 60 million. Dario Osorio was only 20, so there you go. It'll be an interesting one. I've got to be honest, though. Once I have to admit to this. I don't know if you guys are the same. But if we were being linked with a 20-year-old from, I don't know, pick a town in England, Maidenhead, I wouldn't be that excited. But the fact that we're being linked with a 20-year-old Chilean winger who's playing in the Copa America, it makes me a bit more excited. It almost makes these players more exotic or something. I don't know. But it's certainly, I know that when I see us linked to South Americans, I perk up a little bit. I'm in Tenerife and still watching. Good man. Connor's in Tenerife as well. So if you bump into Mr. Crosby somewhere around Playa de las Americas, say hello to him. You'll know him. He looks like Queeveen Kelleher. Do you think we should sign Adam Wharton, then loan him back to Palace? I think Manchester City are going to try and sign Adam Wharton. That's what we've been reading today. I wouldn't be loaning him back anyway. You know, because if you're going to sign him, you're probably going to have to pay a rather hefty fee for him. So I definitely wouldn't be looking to loan him back. But for me, I think Ederson is the answer for me. Yeah, so for me, I would say probably not enough value in there for us, but it does. If City's name's been mentioned with him, you can imagine that the price is going up and up. Reverse racism, said Winston. I don't know how else to put it, mate, but you tell me we're linked with a Brazilian and I'm already excited. Do you know? I'm not going to lie. You tell me we're linked with an Argentinian and I'm already excited. Same with a Uruguayan. I don't know what it is, but give me that South American flair. Now, for every Alexis McAllister. There's a what was his name? Mark Gonzalez. Do you remember him? The Chilean winger that we signed under Rafa, who didn't really work out too well, to be fair. Chilean players are underrated, said A. Santino. Feels Alvarez like. Yeah, look, at the price being mentioned, it feels like definitely worth a punt. If you're talking less than 8 million quid, yeah, it's definitely worth a try. Even if you got to loan him out somewhere for a year, I mean, certainly worth a punt at 8 million quid. Real Madrid looks scary. They might get Alphonso Davies. They will. They will. It's been kind of a known thing for a long time. They will get Alphonso Davies, and they're going to have a very scary team, like you've said. To be able to look at that team and go, oh, let me see, who shall I play today? Will I go Bellingham, Mbappe, Vini Jr., Rodrigo, Valverde, Endrick, Luka Modric, Alphonso Davies, Thibaut Courtois? Is madness. And they're probably going to get Lenny Yoro as well. Yeah, it is a very daunting team that they're building, no doubt about it. Pro, I've literally just spent 5 minutes answering your question about Adam Wharton and you've spammed it back in the chat. I told you, 1, why would you spend as much money as you'd have to and loan him back? And 2, Man City are the ones most likely linked to signing him. So, what was the final score in the England game? They lost to Iceland. Wow. Wow. So that happened then. Roy Hodgson at home in the back garden lashing out the fist pumps now. See? Anybody can lose to Iceland. Oh my God. That's mad. And look, I'm Irish. I've no right to be laughing at anybody else's football results, but it's not going to inspire confidence before the Euros, that, is it? But anyway, what's this? Osorio has 8 caps already for Chile and scored against France, by the way, so certainly has something about him. Look, I told you the chat's going to start to fill up after the England game. I told Ben this earlier on as well. We've just gone over the 1,000 mark for the first time tonight. Ben here, he said he's supporting France in the Euros. Treason for Ben. I'm not going to support anybody, but I'm going to enjoy it as a neutral. The sooner Southgate is sacked, the better. Yeah. And then send him to United, where he can work his magic. Oh, good news. I think I announced this last night, but I'm going to announce it again. We have extended our partnership with our good friends at Manscaped, which means you're going to get more of those funny ad reads, more talk about shaving your nuts and all that jazz. Manscaped, we've extended our partnership with Manscaped in towards next season. We're absolutely delighted about it. One of our longest serving partners here on the channel, so thank you to Manscaped. And my balls very much will thank you later, because, you know, I'm a Manscaped boy, what can I say? Best England team in decades and losing to Iceland, said King Pop. I don't know what to say, bro. You know, I don't know what to say. Am I streaming the Euros? Yes, Damien, we are. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to do every game, mate, but we're going to try and pick the best games or ones that have a Liverpool connection to them. And we will be covering the Euros here on Anfield Agenda, yeah. If Liverpool were to spend big in the transfer market, who would you buy, whether it would be midfielder, centre-back or winger? Please answer, be following for a while. Happy to answer, Daniel, and thank you for your support, bro. So before I answer, I need just a little reminder. Don't forget to hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. We're only 12 away from the next 100 target, so if you haven't subscribed, please do. Right, in answer to your question, Daniel, if we were to spend big, who would I buy? Right, so we're spending big, so I've got money. Antonio Silva or Mark Gay would be centre-back priority for me. I wouldn't mind Hincapié either. I'm absolutely open to that. But for me, Silva is the one I've always rated very highly. So I'd probably edge to Antonio Silva. Moving into midfield, look, you're not going to get a Declan Rice, an Arlian Tchouameni, or a Rodri. So I'm happy with Ederson. I don't know enough about Wiefer to say if I'd be happy with him. The kid from Benfica, Neves, I mean, be a load of money, but again, be a very good signing. So in there, yeah, I'd happily spend the 40 million on Ederson, in all honesty. Antonio Silva would probably cost upwards of 85 million quid. And then for a wide player, I have to know what we're doing first with regards to our own forward line. So I feel we may end up losing Diaz this summer. So can I be greedy and say 2? Because I want us to sign EZE. I like the idea of him. But if we lost Diaz, I want us to sign Nico Williams from Bilbao, who naturally plays on the left anyway. So if we lost Diaz, I'd like Nico Williams to come in and replace him and fight with Cody Gakpo for the left-hand side. And then the right-hand side, I'd like EZE, because then if Salah is staying run down his deal, at least we've got 1 year of options of those two before EZE is ready then to be the replacement. So that's probably my answer. Trent was the only star in that England game, said Evie is cool. What's this Mark said? 598 England passes for 1 shot on target against Iceland at home. It's not great, is it? It's not great. It is a friendly, so it doesn't really mean anything, but it's still not great. I hope we lose Salah this summer, said Callum Grantham. Yeah, look, when I spoke at Belfast, when we did the live show, I felt like everybody in the room was pretty much on board with selling Salah rather than losing him for free. But you know what did shock me? I pitched EZE to the audience at the Belfast show. And again, people who maybe are watching who are at the show can back me up. There was a lot of hesitation in the room because of his injury record. So people had other targets who they'd prefer. Kudus, as an example, was somebody who came up in the room that people were really happy at the idea of us signing. Bowen, I think people were happy with as well. And I love Jared Bowen. I just feel it would be kind of a short-term signing. Best case scenario, 4 years maybe out of Bowen and no sell-on. So probably a lot of money. But all names that I'd be more than happy with. So Eze in an attacking midfield role, be brilliant. EZE in a wide role, be brilliant. Nico Williams I've always liked. And if we lose Diaz, let's say we got 70 million quid from Barcelona for Diaz. Go and spend the 55 million quid to trigger the release clause of Nico Williams from Bilbao. And then let him compete with Gakpo. There's loads of good options. There is. I think this summer it's a buyer's market because there are a lot of teams who have to do business before the end of June to satisfy profit and sustainability rules as well. And then you've got clubs in Europe who are still in a bit of a financial mess after COVID. So the clubs like Liverpool who have been clever with their money and have a bit of wiggle room, it's a buyer's market, meaning we should be able to strike a few good deals. What else is there? We can't let Mo go on a free. I've been banging and warning about this for a long time, mate. And I get it. People love Mo. Easy to understand why. But imagine he does go for free. And we've lost him, Firmino and Mane for like 30 million quid. It doesn't seem like good succession planning. Fabrizio said Diaz is happy at Liverpool and we're happy with him. And I'm just telling you what I'm hearing from journalists and people on the inside, that if somebody's going to be moved on this summer, it'll likely be Diaz. And as soon as Barcelona actually come with some money, let's see how happy he is then, pro. Because I promise you, if Barcelona sell Rafinha, let's say to Saudi, and they get some money, let's see how happy Diaz is then. Because I promise you, that situation will get sour very quickly, in my opinion. And that's before Papa Diaz starts chirping up about it being his son's dream. Because remember the Coutinho situation? It got to the point of them basically trying to say we were keeping Coutinho almost like a slave. That's how bad it got. the guilt tripping, the dream move nonsense, the now or never pressure from Barcelona. That's the way they operate. So I promise you, mate, with all the best intentions in the world, even if Lucho feels happy enough now, as soon as that Barca offer comes in, watch the attitude change. And also, again on this Fabrizio Romano love-in, Fabrizio tweets what he's either told by an agent or what somebody has paid him to tweet. He gets the information people want him to have. Whether that's an agent who wants pressure put on a selling club, whether that's a selling club who want Fabrizio to use his platform to push an agenda. He isn't a journalist, in my opinion. He's a gun for hire. He is a mouthpiece. He is a problem to football, in my opinion. Because what does he actually do journalistically? All he does is talk out of school, for want of a better phrase. You know? When's the last time we actually seen him do some journalism? I don't like him. I don't like the way he operates. I don't like... It all feels greasy, snidey. And when you're selling, here we go, Fabrizio Romano, Kylian Mbappe, tweet t-shirts for €50, you can fuck right off, in my eyes. And I'm not joking on that. €50 for a t-shirt with a print of a tweet that any of us could make up for a tenner. Yeah, it's a lot. It's just... It all seems to be just cash generating at this point. And I've never really been part of the Fabrizio Romano fan club. Is he very well connected? Absolutely. Has he broken stories and will he break more? Absolutely. But I think he's a problem to the game rather than a good. So there's also enough interesting stuff about the other side of the Romano stuff if you dig deep enough. Yeah, so do your own research on it, but dig deep on it. It's very grubby. I agree with you, he's making football difficult. He is. I would say he is. You know, like if I was a club owner and I was seeing this stuff going out in public, or an agent from my club's, one of my club's players, whispering stuff into his ear, I can't say I'd be happy about it. And it seems like a lot of people in the chat actually feel the same way. Look, nobody's ever going to deny the man's ability to get information. Sometimes you have to just say, where's the information coming from, and is it one-sided? You know, I just don't... He's not somebody that I would hold in high esteem. Craig, if you were to acquire enough money to buy Liverpool and shape it as the best anyone can, what signings would have gone for? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have the business acumen to be able to answer that question. And I'd go broke because I would honestly plough everything I can into Liverpool. So, yeah, I definitely don't want to be that owner. I thought we were giving Adrian the new deal. So there's mixed things on Adrian. So there's still Real Betis looking like they want to try and bring Adrian San Miguel back to Spain. But then there is the news as well that Liverpool have offered him a 1-year contract extension. And I think both things can be true at once. I'm sure the offer is there from Liverpool because it's been spoken about, from some very respectable journalists. But I'm also sure that Real Betis probably are looking to bring him back as well. So, you know, let's wait and see what happens there. He hasn't signed the contract yet that I'm aware of, so let's wait and see. Elise and EZE are different players. Yeah, absolutely. They are. But they're both very good. I want Elise. You know, of Elise and EZE, for me, Elise is the one that excites me the most. Yeah. I love the idea of him drifting in off that wide right-hand side onto his left foot. Who's the other guy in the thumbnail? That is, I'll go back over this in 1 second for you, mate. That is a young winger from Midtjylland who is a Chilean international who Liverpool have been linked with a just under £8 million bid for. So the story originates, I think, over in Chile, but it's been spreading around quite a lot today. And the story is Liverpool prepare Osorio offer. So Liverpool are reportedly preparing an important offer to sign Midtjylland youngster Dario Osorio. That's according to La Tercesa. Again, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that correctly. Who claimed that Liverpool are willing to offer around £7.9 million plus a sell-on for the Chilean forward. Now, he scored against France. He's been capped already for the senior team, and he's going to be playing in the Copa America. So I'm all right about these type of links. When you're talking about £8 million plus a percentage on sell-on clause, grand. Take that gamble if you think he's worth it. Because I remember Andy Robertson coming in for £8.5 million and he turned out all right. So yeah, look at these type of things. Take a punt on it if you think he's potentially one of the next hot prospects coming from South America. Eze isn't a central attacking midfielder. Why are we talking about Cam? He's an attacking midfielder, in my opinion. I would class him as a 10 or an attacking midfielder. But either way, the only reason we brought Eze up today was because there was a confirmation that the release clause there is about £60 million, and it might take another 7 or 8 million in add-ons to get that deal done and dusted and everybody happy. I've not really seen too many direct links for us to Eze, but you know, he's certainly in there of the calibre of player that will be exciting to bring in. How can people be so short-sighted with Mo? They'd rather have him at 60% for a year and go for free than sell him and get someone like Kudus. Future-proof ourselves. Much love, Craig. Thank you for a couple of things there. Thank you for the much love comment at the end. By the way, I love that I've made that part of many of your vocabulary. Let's be honest. Come on, put your hands up. Who never said much love until I start saying it on the stream? Because I don't think I even said it until I start saying it on the stream. So yeah, I always sign off with much love. Also, I agree with you about people being so short-sighted on Mo. Best case scenario is he has a decent season and leaves for free at the moment. Most likely scenario is we have a big pain in the arse for the year because you're going to hear distractions every week about where is he going to go, who's he going to sign for, that he can do this in January, then you'll see his agent tweeting stuff, and then we'll have the questions about his commitment, the questions about is he putting in all the effort, and you can tell me these aren't going to come, but I promise you they will. So yeah, I agree with you. Not so sneaky P. It's a no-brainer for me. Sell. Sell. Immediately. As soon as possible. Get the money. Because yes, as you've said, it would allow us to then go out there and bring in another forward. Maybe of a higher calibre than we were originally able to afford. But certainly, I don't buy into fairy tales. And for me, I've seen enough with Mo at the end of last season to think I'm still not sure if he's at the level that he once was. And if he isn't, what a way. I have a feeling we're going to look at this year with Mo and be frustrated by the end of it. Genuinely, I do. What else we got? Why go for Elise and Eze when they're as injury prone as Jota? No more injury prone players, please. Hard to discuss transfers when we haven't resolved the current squad contracts. Love your work, bro. Some really good points. Some really good points in there, Randelay. The contract things, mate, you're preaching to the choir. I'm with you. It is mental to me that we have a Virgil, a Trent and a Salah situation where they're all out of contract in a year. That has to be sorted and should be a priority. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. On the injury prone stuff, I have always caveated the Elise stuff by saying I don't know if this is going to be a potential problem going forward. I believe this was, I don't want to say mismanaged, but I believe this was a hamstring injury that wasn't healed fully, correctly, or long enough, and that played itself out over the year. But you're right to be concerned. Same with Ruben Neves as an example. Or not Ruben Neves, sorry. Same with, what's the kid's name again? I'm drawing a blank. How am I doing this again? Pedro Neto, sorry. Yeah, Pedro Neto. Same with him. I'd have no problems about the quality of player, but yes, injury concerns are there. And that's one thing I'd have to say about Salah. You know, last year he had injuries, but more often than not, he's been fairly bulletproof. He's been fairly reliable. So, it is a risk. But if it is, and let's just pretend for a sec it is, just the mismanaged hamstring, what a player. What a player you could have. One that will get you up off the edge of your seat. And Nico Williams is one, by the way, I also love. But predominantly plays more in off the left for Bilbao. LFC should convince Taylor Swift to become a Liverpool fan. That would double our social media fan base. I'm all aboard with that one. Yes, absolutely. I hope she comes to Anfield, has a great show, falls in love with the place, and starts tweeting some positive stuff about Liverpool. Absolutely. You can't push against that Tay magic. So yes, very much so. That would be brilliant. Remember Dua Lipa as well. You know, her little love affair with Liverpool and our little love affair with her. It's it's great. I love it when musicians come visit and fall in love with the city or the club. It's great. I don't want... who's this? Oh, you mean you don't want Elise without EZE? Sorry, Eve, I was confused by the post originally. Liverpool, the first Premier League club with 10 million subs on YouTube. Yes, I'd seen that. I think Canada did the unboxing, right? Or at least part of it. Oh, what a beautiful thing that is, by the way. You know, for me, my first goal was to get the YouTube silver play button, which we managed to get a couple of years ago. I don't think I'll ever see the gold play button, to be honest with you, the 1 million one. But the 10 million one, it's a sexy award, isn't it? But for me, yeah, fingers crossed, maybe someday we get that gold one. That'd be amazing. Imagine me one day saying 1 million people had subscribed. I can't even think about numbers that big, to be honest with you. Gift Taylor an Anfield Agenda membership. I'm more than happy to do it, Dave. If that's what Tay wants, you know, I'm more than happy to do it. And if she isn't interested, then I can absolutely just shake it off. Sorry. How many foreign players slots do we have available this summer? 2 or 3 that I'm aware of. I think it's 2 or 3. Now, obviously, if Diaz moved on, that would be another one freed up. The signing of Adrian taking up an homegrown spot just blows my mind. But it also makes me think that maybe the likes of a Mark Gay at Crystal Palace starts to make a bit more sense, because he is that homegrown spot as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harvey Elliott is 1 year away from becoming homegrown or breaking through his home. There's one of our players who's a year or so away from becoming homegrown. I think it's Elliott, but I might be wrong. She can't sing, she's shy. Don't be saying that, Colin. Jeez, mate, if you think the Mohamed Salah fanboys are bad, Colin, wait and you see the Tay fans. We don't want to get them on side. We love Taylor Swift here on Anfield Agenda. Big fans. She can do no wrong. Oh no, we don't want that. No way. I'm not inviting that nonsense. You know what I mean? Her fans are crazy in a good way. What else we got? Let's get Craig to 1 million subs. Oh, can you imagine? Honestly, I'd break down in tears. 1 million subscribers. I've often wondered what the channel's peak would be. You know, what will, by the time I hang up the microphone, what we'll have gotten to. And I have a number in my head that I think we'll get to. But it isn't 1 million. I think it's 2 if Adrian is included. Well, so we've got Matip and Thiago freed up. So they've both moved on. So that's 2 non-homegrown spots freed up. 1 interview with Taylor Swift on your channel and you'll hit 10 million subs. I know. But they'd be fake subs. So there's a load of channels you'll see on YouTube that, let's say, KSI gives a shout out to or something. and they'll get a load of subscribers real quickly, and a couple of the videos will bang, but then they kind of fall away, and you see a load of channels with huge subscriber numbers that don't get many views. But I'll happily take those 10 million subs, even if we lose some of them. So my number that I think the channel can get to is... I don't think it's ridiculous to say that I think we can get to 500,000 subscribers over the next few years. Yeah, I don't think that's ridiculous. But to 1 million? Oh, I don't know. Because remember, we don't get any exposure. We don't get TV appearances, charity games, big podcast invitations that can give us these big boosts. People have to find us organically. And when they do, of course they love your fellow Irish brethren, because I'm a cheeky chappy, let's be honest. But yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get to 1 million. I think if we got near 500k still, look, to be honest with you guys, looking at that number now is more than I could ever have dreamt of. I've told you guys this story before, but my goal was 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers when we started. That would have been, I'd have been happy with that. So to look it up and see 261,592, that's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. Would you prefer 1 million subs or 20,000 views every night? You must mean live viewers, right? Because we get... These streams usually hit 20k by the time they're all done and dusted. But live concurrent, 1 million subs. Because I'm not in this so much for the money. But 1 million subs to be able to show my son and go, look at this. Because my son's a YouTube kid, loves YouTube. Imagine me saying, Daddy got 1 million subscribers. That would be incredible. Would I manage in a charity match? Hell yeah. I wouldn't play. My playing days are done. But I would manage. Absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah, it'd be amazing. I mean, I've seen some of the speeches that some of the managers, no names being mentioned, said things like, write this down in a changing room where the lads are kitted out to go out on a football pitch. Write this down. Imagine saying that. No, I'd give you an Any Given Sunday level of speech where they'd be going out there like Braveheart to take to the pitch by the time I'm finished and everyone's mopped the floor, all the tears and stuff. Yeah. If we get too many viewers, the chat would be insane. Too many people. It is one of the things that I was concerned about the most as the channel grew. It's keeping that level of not interaction but connection with you guys. That's always been a concern, which is one of the reasons we don't like spamming, because we don't want the chat to be filled with the same comments multiple times. But it is a concern, which is why we hope that technology can help us keep that interactivity and that relationship building between you guys and us. Any tips for playing as a goalie? I'm playing a 5-a-side tournament on Sunday. Angles. I always looked at goalkeeping like maths. Just get your angles right. In 5-a-side, I would say don't stand too tall. Don't leave your legs wide open. Be aware, or unless you're going to tease someone. There's a shout for opening your legs as they're coming in and then closing them last second, because a lot of people like to nutmeg keepers in 5-a-side. But yeah, keep your body position low, get your angles right, and play quickly. Do you not put the chat on slow mode? Sometimes we do, as a last resort, Marco, yeah. Sometimes the mods would stick the chat on slow mode, or I would. But we don't like to do it. But sometimes during a watch along and stuff, yes, it has to be done. Right, so what I normally do around this time is run back through the news. So I'm going to do that for anybody who's joined us a little bit late. And then we'll finish up as always with 10 minutes or 15 minutes of questions. But before I do, again, a reminder. I said to you last night there was about 30 tickets left for the Liverpool show. I personally bought and sent out 6 today for people. So best case scenario, there's about 25. So if you want to come along, you got to get your ticket sooner. It's going to sell out. Cardiff, there's about 50 tickets left. Again, both of them are £15 a ticket. They are all ages events, and you can get your tickets with the link at the top of the chat or in the description of this video. There are 2, and I repeat, 2, I used to call them family tickets, but 2 group tickets left for Cardiff, meaning you can buy 4 tickets for 50 quid. There's only 2 lots of them left, and then single tickets after that. So yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. We're going to make sure you guys have an awesome night. And to finish up with my last ever live show in Liverpool to what's looking like a sold out venue is going to be a tearjerker for me. So yeah, I can't wait to meet you guys as well. Right, let's get through the news. Anywho. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Keep them doggies scrolling. That's yesterday's Craig. There we go. Right, so first thing that we heard today came from David Ornstein pretty late last night. It came out after midnight. Said exclusive, Premier League fails in bid to close loophole, letting clubs use profits from sale of hotels, training grounds and other tangible assets in FFP submissions. Proposal at AGM fell short of the 2/3 majority needed, with only 11 of the 20 clubs voting to close that loophole. Then we spoke about... No, we're not even going to talk about them anymore. Let's move on from that. The Times have said Manchester City's rivals fear there will be political pressure on ministers to intervene over the 115 charges brought by the Premier League. And I would say that they're absolutely right to have those concerns. Now, do hit that like button. We haven't got up to 500 likes yet. So if you can, real quick, just drop that like for me for 1 sec. Right. This one says, from again The Athletic, Liverpool are prepared to spend big money on a player they feel can have a significant impact on the team like Van Dijk or Alisson did when they arrived in 2018. So, again, there's talk that we're willing to spend big for the right player. Enough talky talk. Let's see if there's spendy spend. Another article coming out of the Netherlands has linked us once again with a move for Feyenoord defender Geertruida, who they say is valued at about 25 million quid. I believe this is the same outlet that broke the news on Arne Slot, but I'm open to being corrected on that one. Then there was the shock Mohamed Salah claim. You may have seen the thumbnail earlier on where we said Salah Tassaray. That was my thought. So, yeah, that was on me. I love a pun. So, this report says Turkish giants Galatasaray are plotting a shock move for Mohamed Salah this summer. The piece goes on to say that the journalist in question, whose name I wouldn't dare try to pronounce because I'd butcher it, said that Galatasaray could look to take advantage of a situation at Liverpool and that talks have already taken place with the player. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. I can't see Salah going and playing in Turkey at this point in his career, but, you know, if they're interested, let's see if they come to the table with an offer. Then we had the mad idea by Tom Werner, who said, I'm determined one day to have a Premier League game played in New York City. I've even the sort of crazy idea that there would be a day where we could play one game in Tokyo, one game a few hours later in LA, one game in Rio, one game a few hours later in Riyadh, and make it sort of a day where the Premier League is celebrated. We don't need that day, Tom. The Premier League's always celebrated. What you want, mate, is more money. Stop being greedy, Tom. And then we talked about Liverpool being linked with a move for Midtjylland winger Dario Osorio, who is a Chilean international. The piece coming out of South America said that Liverpool are willing to offer just under £8 million for his services with a potential sell-on. Do keep an eye on him if you're going to be watching the Copa America, because he will be playing for Chile. And that, what else have we got? We've done that. So one thing I haven't spoken about tonight is a potential little cash boost for Liverpool because of the sale of a former player. So it looks like Liverpool are about to pocket about £1 million from Luis Alberto's proposed move to Qatar. This says Alberto, who left the Reds to join Lazio in 2016, is set to leave the Serie A side to join Al Dalal for a fee in the region of £8.5 million. According to Corriere dello Sport, Liverpool have a 12% sell-on clause, meaning Liverpool would pocket just over £1 million from Luis Alberto if that deal went through. Next up, we went to speak about the situation with EZE and his release clause, and this piece suggests that his release clause is £60 million. They do say that a couple of million extra in add-ons might be needed, is that the right word? But about 60 million quid. Then we spoke about Luis Guilherme, whose move to West Ham is back on, according to Fabrizio Romano, who said, West Ham verbally agreed deal to sign Brazilian talent Luis Guilherme. Agreement done with Palmeiras pending medicals to take place in England next week. £23 million fixed fee, $7 million in add-ons, and a 20% sell-on clause for Palmeiras. That, my friends, is about it, where we're at with the news roundup for tonight. So we've about 15 minutes to go. Hit me up with whatever questions you have. A reminder, tomorrow, no live content. It's my day off. So we have a video coming out at 12 and a video coming out at 6:30. At 6:30, we're going to be doing the keep, sell, loan or buy video, where I go through the squad, talking about the players I'd like to keep at the club, loan out, sell, and of course the players that I would like to bring in. That is coming out at 6:30 tomorrow. Right, we need 68 more likes, by the way, to get us up to 500. So if you haven't, take a second, hit that like button. Would I take Chiesa as a Salah replacement? No. I would take Chiesa, but if he was to be the replacement for Mo, I wouldn't feel comfortable. There is talk that you could get Chiesa for about £20 million because of his situation at Juventus and the fact that he won't sign another deal. Juventus have their eyes set on the likes of Coop Miner and a few others who they'd like to bring in, but they need to get some money in. So there could be a deal to be had for Federico Chiesa. So would I take him at Liverpool? Yes, but not to be the Salah replacement, just as a good alternative option. Now, the other interesting one we spoke about the other day was the fact that there is a €12 million or just over £10 million release clause in Paulo Dybala's contract with Roma that is in play, I think, until the end of June. Now, I don't see Liverpool looking to trigger that deal, but I could very much see, let's say, Spurs or somebody going to try and bring in Dybala as an attacking option on the cheap, let's be honest, because 10 million quid would be a reasonable fee for Paulo Dybala. He is 30 years of age, though. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that we get Ederson? Six. Because I don't know. All I can tell you is that I definitely know of the interest, like I've said all along. I've never been able to tell you that I know an offer is going in, has gone in, at what stage the negotiations are at. I don't know. So I'd have to be honest and say about a 6 until I got more information. I believe he's a very strong possibility. But I'm not going to lie to people and say, oh, it's a 9. I'm not at that point yet. But I do believe there's a very good chance. Who do you think would replace Kelleher if he did go? I don't want to give away the answer, but I feel like you deserve it for being on the live show because it's part of my video tomorrow. You're probably going to be a little bit shocked by this, but I think we already have the solution. Yaros. He's the solution for me. He served his time. He's gone over the St. Pat's in Ireland, won a cup over here, gone back out on loan to Sturm Graz, won a double in the Austrian league with them, and I think he's ready to take that step up and be the number 2. So for me, Yaros is the one that I would promote to the number 2 because I'm a very big believer in having that pathway for goalkeepers. And I don't think Pitaluga is ready yet to make that step up. I think Pitaluga needs another loan. But when I've seen Yaros, I've been very impressed. He's, as I said, done his time, had his loans, been patient, built up. I feel like now is the natural progression that if Creevy and Kelleher moves on, Yaros becomes the number 2. That's what I would personally like to see happen. It's a really difficult show to think of a number 2 that you could bring in. You're going to look at an experienced goalkeeper at the end of his career, or a goalkeeper who, I don't even say is just happy to take money. because that's unfair. It's a difficult position to fill, and I like it being filled by an up-and-coming talent who you believe could one day become the number one. And I've always felt that way about Kelleher. I feel like at any other era, he probably would have had a chance, but he's up against the best goalkeeper in the world, and I think he understands that. So I understand Kelleher's situation. Selfishly, I'd love him to stay, but I understand for his career it might be the summer for him to move on. But Jaros for me would be the answer. And remember, wouldn't cost us anything. So that would be another good bit of business, because we'd be promoting. And remember, we always talk about the goalkeeping department being a destination or one of the best in the world. And that's there for a reason. So we've brought in great goalkeepers. They're getting really good coaching. I think it's the right time. Craig, after the Osorio links, Liverpool have also been linked to PSV's Bakayoko. And Adrian apparently snubbed a contract extension. Oh, shucks. I don't know. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Adrian. There's been loads of talk of the situation with Betis wanting him. So, let's wait and see. On the Bakayoko stuff, we've been linked with him for a good while. Certainly a credible link. He's done very well at PSV Eindhoven, but, until an offer goes in, we're going to have to wait and see. Colin said, don't want to lose Kelleher. Nor do I, mate. Nor do I. But I'm understanding. It's very difficult to ever be critical of somebody who wants to play football. Same with Sepp van den Berg. I can understand Sepp van den Berg's frustration because Liverpool hold him to a certain valuation and he feels that Liverpool have perhaps not always looked out for his best interests. So there seems to be a bit of a stumbling block at the minute between Liverpool and Mainz, who would like to keep him on, but Liverpool have set a valuation of about 20 million quid. With Kelleher, he's worth every penny of 20 million quid in my eyes. And Celtic, I don't know if they'd have the money to be able to sign him, but they'd love to sign him to replace Joe Hart. For me, he's 25, and if Ali's around for 2, 3, 4 more years, he's the number one. So I will never knock somebody who wants to go and play football, and Kelleher wants to become a number one. So best deal for the club and him, and hopefully we put a buyback option in there for the future because, as I said, in most other eras, I think he could have been a Liverpool number one. So we only need 41 more likes to get to 500, so please do hit that like button. And look, any more questions, throw them in. Do we need a new goalkeeper coach? So we have a new head of goalkeeping for FSG's footballing operations. We also have Taffarel, who's staying on at the club to work with Allison, but I'm sure another goalkeeping coach will be brought in. But yeah, John Achterberg is leaving. I think he's gone over to Saudi, if I'm not mistaken, to join up with Steven Gerrard at Al Ettifaq, but I could be wrong on that one. Who is Jaros? Viroslav Jaros, Stephen. It's spelled Jars. So he's a goalkeeper that's been on Liverpool's books but has been out on loan. He was on loan at St Patrick's Athletic in Ireland, where he helped them win an FAI Cup. This season he was on loan in Austria with Sturm Graz, where they stopped the dominance of Red Bull Salzburg by winning not only the league but also the cup, and he had a big part to play in that. So he's a really good prospect of a goalkeeper who's done his time on loan and I think is ready for that step up. Who is the exciting winger? So his name is... I have to keep going back. This is how exciting he is. I don't know his name yet. It is Dario Osorio, who is a Chilean winger, 20 years of age, plays for Midtjylland, has been capped, I think, 4 or 6 times for Chile, scored 1 goal against France and a couple of others, and is being rumoured to be available for about £8 million. So let's see. You'll get a chance to have a look at him in the Copa America anyway, but yeah, for 8 million quid, it's certainly worth a punt. And I said punt before anyone gives it out to me. Are you still going to move to Spain in later life? Yes. So my family plan is this. Buy this house, which we hope to do in the next year, and then move to Spain. I hope it can coincide with my son finishing primary school and going to secondary school. So there's going to be a natural transition there anyway. He's got one more year in junior cycle or junior school here in Ireland before he goes into secondary school. He'll be about 13 at that point. So I'd like to make that the time we move. So he starts a new school in Spain and we move over to Spain after we buy this house, and we leave our daughter here with her fella to, you know, live in the house while we're off in Spain, trying it for a year and seeing if it works. That's my plan. Yes, my plan is definitely to retire to Spain, or even not just to retire, to live in Spain. Because I love the sun, I love warm weather, I love wearing shorts, and the cost of living in Ireland is ridiculous. We'll need to see some pictures of Slot at Anfield soon. It looks like, Nick, it could be July, bro, before we get to hear from him anyway, according to some of the media. Craig, don't do it. I did it. It's not good. Well, you see, Dave, I've got lots of uncles who've bought places in Spain and have been back and forth for the last 20 odd years. I've visited enough to know the area I'm happy with. And the reason I would only do it after we buy this house is because I'd need to make sure that we had the fallback option. So if we bought this house, or took out a mortgage on this house, I should say, if I go to Spain, it doesn't work out, I know I can come home to the house. So that's why we tried it, or we want to try it. And I don't think I will move home. I think once we do it, I'll stay there, because I've been over enough times now. I've been to Spain over 40 times. I've been to this area of Spain maybe 10 times over the last 6 or 7 or 8 years. And I look at it this way, Dave. My income is the same whether I'm in Ireland or I'm in Spain, because I'm a YouTuber. So the cost of living in Spain's cheaper. The quality of life my family could have is better. And I know I'd feel physically and mentally better with warmer climate. So I'm 100% going to give it a go. Any particular part of Spain? Yeah, in and around the kind of Murcia, Alicante area. That kind of, there's a couple of nice English speaking or expat communities over there that we've rented a couple of houses in for prolonged stays over there, and I'd look around. And as I said, I'm lucky enough that I've got family that have houses over there, so they can give me a good heads up on, you know, legal requirements and anything else I need to be over there. Spain means different things for different people. I've lived there for 10 years, said Sai. Yeah, for me, I just love it, mate. I love the people, the warmth. It's and also it's, you know, you're always accessible to come home if anything happened. So let's say there was a medical emergency with the extended family, you're only a 2-hour flight away, you know. So yeah, it's always been a dream of mine. I've always wanted to age in Spain, and you know, what happened with my parents and all, it makes me remember that life is short and you can't keep putting stuff off. So I've had a goal to save up money for the deposit to be able to buy this house. We're about 9 months to a year away from being able to do that. I've got the paperwork. Once I sign that and we buy this, then off to Spain we go. Hablos Español. Nope, but I will learn. I will absolutely learn. I don't want to be one of those guys that goes to Spain and just speaks English. No, if I go to Spain, I got to learn the language. You only live once. Absolutely. And I remember, I'm 42. My father died at 45. His father died at 37. So I look at this and go, the last 2 generations of my immediate family have died within 3 years of the age I am now. Now, it's not to say I'm going to die at 45, but it definitely makes me feel I'm not putting stuff off. You know, I've had a dream. I've worked hard to try and make sure we can attain it. And let's see what the future brings. Best YouTuber live. Even a bad day, I know will feel better when I hear your streams. Much, much love. Woofu Blam Blam. What a name. And yeah, look. Again, all I need is a Wi-Fi connection and a green screen and we're good to go. So it won't be any different to anybody else. You guys won't notice the change when we move. But for me, I want to be able to get out and about with my doggy and wear shorts and t-shirts and just, enjoy a slower pace of life. Alex said my dad died at 54. I'm sorry about that, mate. Sorry to hear about that. Yeah, it's scary, like. As I said, my dad 45 when he died. My granddad 37. And I'm 42. So, yeah, it definitely makes you feel nervous. Are you not getting the studio then? Yep, that's in the plan regardless. So the studio build will be done in the back garden, but I don't plan on living in Spain all year round. I plan on living in Spain for the winters and coming back home to Ireland for the summers. Craig, don't die until like 67, 78 or even 87. I don't plan going anywhere, mate, for the time being. But, I'm very much a carpe diem type of person. Will it be easy to take Harvey with me? Yes, we'll get the boat. And I'll bring Harvey over on the boat, have all his passports and stuff sorted. He's fully vaccinated and all that. So, yeah, we'll have to get the boat over to Santander or somewhere and then drive up. Or at the very least, a Spanish accent. Yeah, I could go full Joey Barton. Just throw the accent on and just speak English and point at things. My daughter can speak some Spanish. Certainly more than I can. But yeah, look, you only live once. I keep telling you, take your chances in life. And that's one good thing about the EU is we can move and live around freely. And as much as I love Ireland and I think the Irish people are amazing, best people on the planet, but the country's getting expensive and there's no real value for money here. And I don't see a great future in Ireland for my kids. So, I want to live a different lifestyle. Whereabouts in Spain? Kind of Alicante, Murcia, that neck of the woods. Yeah. Now, we're going over to Lanzarote on holidays in September, but I don't plan on moving to Lanzarote. But we're going there in September, and then Sabrina and I are going over to Turkey in October. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wind this stream down. So we need 8 more likes before we finish up to get to 500. So if you could do me that favour, please do hit the like button. I will see you guys on Sunday. There will be 2 videos coming out tomorrow. A clip about midday or 1 o'clock. And then we have the keep, sell, loan or buy video that's going out tomorrow night at 6:30. So if I don't speak to you before then, which I probably won't, unless something happens, I will see you guys on Sunday, where again, 8:30, late night agenda. And what happened to my holiday in Vegas? The ESTA thing, the visa. Once I told you we got booted off the ESTA visa system, which means I have to get a 10-year holiday visa, and it's a pain in the backside, and it's too intrusive a questionnaire and a form to fill out. So I just said I'd just lose the holiday and not go. If you're going to make it awkward for me to go on holiday somewhere, I'm not going to go through the hassle and jump through those hoops. So look, have a good one. Have a great weekend. Yeah, much